Hello everyone and welcome to my tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be based on Linq to XML and how to query data and create data using the XML.link namespace. Before we get started on this tutorial, I would recommend that you have a good understanding of XML. If you don't have a good understanding of XML, please have a look at some online resources such as W3 Schools. Why don't we get started now? Go to your File menu and you're going to want to create a new console application. We'll call it Linq To XML. The first thing I want you to do once you get this open is create a class. So right click and add a new class. And we're going to call it our data class. This class is going to contain three methods. One that actually creates our XML data, one that saves it to a file, and another one that queries the data. To start, we're going to create our XML data. In order to do that, we're going to be using one of the classes of the system.xml.link namespace. So in order to use that, we need to add the namespace. Now we're going to add our method that creates the XML data. It's going to be a public method. It's going to be static. And it's going to return an X document. Now an X document is one of the classes that resides in this namespace here. It's used to represent an XML document, hence the name X document. And we will call it create data. Now we need to create an X document object here that represents our XML data. Once we have it created, we can actually query the object right away. However, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to save it to file as well. So we'll start out by creating the object, X document. We'll call it CD data equals new X document. Now the first thing we're going to want to do is have a declaration for our XML file. In order to do that, we're going to need to add a new X declaration. It's going to be 1.0. Encoding is going to be UTF-8. And standalone is going to be yes. Next, we're going to add a comment, so I can show you how to add comment in your XML file. It's going to be new X comment. We're just going to have it say our CD data. Now we're going to start adding our elements. I'm just going to show you how to create one set of elements, and then you can go ahead and copy and paste the rest or create the rest as you like in order to speed up the video. So first we'll add our main element. And we're going to add a couple of attributes. Some people don't like to use attributes in their XML. However, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to add attributes just in case you need to. I'm going to use the X attribute. We'll call it store name. And the value is going to be, let's make it lee side. And we'll add another attribute. And we'll make it location. And Toronto. Okay, let's end this X element here so we don't have to worry about it later. Next, we're going to actually add our CDs. So we'll do new element, CD, new X element, the title of our CD, and the value is going to be, let's make it Love Gun by Kiss. Next, we're going to add another element. This one is going to be artist. And it's going to be Kiss. We'll add another one for genre. And Kisses Rock. Now let's add a sub-element within CD called sales info. And that will contain elements called price and quantity. Let's make it $11.99. Another X element. And let's say we have 5 of these in stock. And that's it. Now we have our first CD element here. This method is actually going to return the X document CD data. So why don't we add that in there before we forget? And I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and add the rest here now. If you'd like to test to make sure it's working, you can go here and you can print the data from the X document object using its toString method. So let's test it and see if our data is working. First thing we're going to need to do is add the namespace here as well. And let's create our new X document here. Say my document equals data class dot create data. Now we want to write this to the console, so we do console dot writeLine my document toString. And let's see if our data works okay. Oh, flash by us. Let's add a read key. That way it holds the screen for us. And there we go. Our first CD data is laid out here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and add the rest of the data in. And I recommend you do the same after the data is there in order to copy it. Okay, now I've added these 3 other CDs here. We have AC/DC, Let There Be Rock, Buddy Guy, Live at Legends, Gary Clark, Black and Blue, and these are our blues genre. So now we have our X document created. We can run our program and see all the data. And our create data method is returning the X document CD data that we created. Now we're going to create the method that actually saves the data to a file. It's going to be a public method. is going to be static. It's going to be a void method. We'll call it save data. And it's going to take a string of the file name. Now we create a new X document. Call it document. And it's going to hold our create data method. Now we just need to save it. So we're going to use the save method of the X document class. So we'll do document.save file name. And there we have it. Now it's going to save our document to an XML file. Let's run this and ensure this works. We'll delete what we have here. And we'll do data class dot save data, and we'll give it the file name mycddata. And we need to input it as a string. Now let's run this and see how it saves it. In order to view the file, we need to click Show All Files in the Solution Explorer. It's going to be under the bin, Debug, and mycddata, as you can see. And here we have our XML file created. Now the next thing we're going to do is query the data using Linq. In order to do that, we're going to need to create another method. We will call this method query data. So it's going to be public, static, void, and we'll call it query data. It's going to take an X document, and we'll call it doc. Now it's time to write our query. We're going to start out by creating a var. Call it data. And now we write our query. From, create a variable called item, and doc.descendants. Now descendants is also another method of the XDocument class, and it's used to get the descendants of an element. So we're going to use it to get the descendants of the CD element. We do select, new, and we specify what we wanted to select. So let's have it print out title. Item.element. The title and the value. Next we're going to do artist. Oh, got a spelling mistake here. Here we go. Artist equals item dot element And this one is going to be artist. Dot value again. Next, we're going to select the sub element of price. So price equals item dot element sales info dot element price dot value. Now you can see we're selecting the sub element price from sales info. And finally, we're going to select genre. Item dot element genre value. Now let's write our selection to the console. For each of our info in data, console dot writeLine info to string. Now let's see how this works. Go back over here. So we'll do X document my doc equals X document dot load, and we're going to want to load our file here. Next thing we're going to want to do is query the data, so we'll call our method that queries the data. And we will pass it myDoc to query myDoc. We will add a read key here so it isn't just flashed by us. Let's see how the query looks. Oops, we got an error here. Let's go ahead and look and see what the error is. We got a misspelling here. Alright, let's try that again now. There we have it. And that was a simple tutorial on Linq to XML and how you can query data and create data using Linq to XML. Please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to leave any comments, and thank you for watching my tutorial.